Hello there viewers, I'm outside a spa somewhere in the United Kingdom. This is a very good spa because it also has a Greggs. As you can see, there's a Greggs here as well, so there's everything you need in this shop. I'm about to go in and buy the cheapest packet of crisps that they offer. I don't want to film inside because there'll be people in there and I don't want to disturb them buying their favourite crisps, and because it's a very important thing, you know, you have to choose what is your favourite crisps and it's a personal choice. On this video I'm going to be ranking the 10 greatest crisps, the 10 greatest British crisps in fact, but I felt I should be eating a packet of crisps on this video, so I'm going to go in now and buy the cheapest packets of crisps that they offer, and then I will have a packet of crisps. So I'll see you when I come outside. Just hold in there, I don't want to take you in. It's as I said, I'll just go in now, shall I? Hang on. I have returned and I have the cheapest crisps that the shop offer, and they are these. A surprise actually. It was Space Raiders barbecue beef. So let's take these back to the studio and I'll sample those and we will go through the 10 greatest British biscuits ranked from 10 to 1. So I'm back in my studio and I am now about to go through my ranking of the 10 greatest British crisps. I've done extensive research. I've been going through many packs of crisps with a very complex ranking system, which I think has created perhaps the most objective list of crisp ranking on YouTube. As you know, I went and bought this packet of crisps. I'm afraid in the car on the way home, I had to open them. So I had to try. They're so moreish. And these aren't even on the list. These, you know, after I opened them, I didn't know whether they should be because I've forgotten that these have they're like a little alien. These Space Raiders. And the thing that put me off, I've always seen these as quite a common crisp, really. It's probably because it's 40p. It's more the lower types in the UK that would go for these crisps. So, you know, I didn't think they were good, but tasting them, they're basically a low-grade Monster Munch. And they tap into a thing that Monster Munch does, which is some crisps are just straight down the line crisps. We're going to talk about those in a minute. But other crisps, they open up us to the world of imagination, don't they? Now, I think the reason is for that is because the crisp, unlike a chocolate bar, which is based upon chocolate, which is an exotic thing from another country, the crisp is created from the potato. And the potato is the basic food of the people of Britain. For millennia, we've eaten potatoes. And because of our love of potatoes, we have found so many different ways to eat potato. Now, somewhere around in the Victorian era, a British person, I don't know who they were, invented the crisp. And the crisp is an interesting thing. And then upon the blank canvas of a crisp, the British people have projected these incredible worlds of the imagination. That's what we have here with this one, because this one's evoking sort of dangerous aliens from outer space coming and invading us. Right, you've even got on the back, look, there's even like a little thing for the kids to read. No kid would ever read this or have any interest in it, but I like the fact that they have got somebody employed to think this stuff up. So we've got this little alien there, and it tells you how tall he is. He's 3.5 metres tall. That's massive. And he's called a giant Gruber, and he's from the planet Zouch. He lives in forests and caves, and his favourite snack is AstroTurf, Graze Bovine and Beef Space Invaders. Now this is wonderful because what that is doing in true British humour and style is poking fun of the flavour of these crisps, because in this big red writing here we have the word beef, and then underneath it in tiny letters it says beef flavour, because the cow's been nowhere near this. So that little joke about the cows being fed on AstroTurf, you know, it alludes to the plasticity and fakeness of the flavour. But next to that, it says, I don't know if you can see, it says flavour, beef flavour, cosmic corn crisps. The cosmic it doesn't have anything after that to say that's an illusion. So they've checked the trade's description out. So this is not actually beef in the ear; it's a beef flavour. But they're cosmic. And this is the incredible thing. So why do we do this? Now, I think it's a very clever ploy of the British people that when we aim a crisp at children like this, we put these imaginary fantasy realms onto the crisp. But these fantasy realms we put on them are often quite scary. Look, scary, he's scary. Look at him, he's not just an alien, but he's a scary alien. And what does the kid do? The kid then takes the alien, represented by that, I think very well, actually. I don't know whether they should... That is, look, that's really good. You can put it up to the light and see the evil eyes. And the kid does this and eats the alien, thus empowering the kid to be able to take on the fears, woes, and anxieties of life in the future. Just miserable. Oh, lovely. Right. The word crisp is inaccurate. They're crispy just for a few seconds. As soon as you get a few chews in, they turn into the opposite of crisp. And it's stuck all over my teeth now. You didn't want to know that, did you? Sorry. Shall we just get on with the ranking? Okay, let's have a go then. At number 10, I have Walker's Salt and Shake. So we start at number 10 with the blank canvas. If you want to know what a crisp basically tastes like, go and get yourself a packet of Walker's Salt and Shake. Now, I just tried to do that when I went down the shop, you know. When I went in and bought the cheapest packet of crisps, I thought, I'll pick up a Salt and Shake. And it wasn't there. It's quite a hard crisp to get hold of. And the reason is because they taste horrible. What we have is just a basic crisp, no flavours, no nothing. And contained within the crisp packet is a little blue sachet of salt. So they don't even put the salt on. You can put the salt on. So you rip it open and you put the salt on and then you shake it up and you're involved in the creation of this crisp. Now, this crisp, which emerged in the 1970s, I think was coming off the back of the whole do-it-yourself, you know, thing that was going on. You got The Good Life on the television. Everybody wanted to do things themselves. So if you want to do something yourself, why not create your own crisp? And there you could put the amount of salt in you want, thus, you know, controlling the saltiness of the crisp. Of course, everybody in the whole world pours the whole lot of salt in. No one's going to put half the salt in unless you got high blood pressure. And then if you got high blood pressure, well, I suppose you would be going for those crisps, wouldn't you, if you fancied a crisp, you know. Anyway, now I think the reason for this is this. I've thought about this long and hard. As I said, the British people, they create the crisp in the Victorian era. I can't remember the bloke who invented them. Probably something like Ebenezer Walker. Let's just pretend. Ebenezer Walker invented the crisp in 1842. There, you know, for the anal retentive of you, I've come up with a fact. It's not true, but it is a fact. And in the 70s, I'd be sat upstairs in my house, which is difficult because I lived in a bungalow, but it sounds better sat upstairs. So I was sat upstairs in my bed, and my brother's in the bunk bed above me. I'm the bottom bunk, being the older brother. And we'd be sat there, you know, looking at our Viewmasters or whatever, having a great time. And then Mom would shout up the stairs, "Kids, dinner time." And what would we do at that point? We'd just stay where we were. "Kids, it's dinner time. Come down for your dinner now." No answer. Don't move. "Your dinner's on the table and it's going cold. If you don't come down now, I'm going to scrape it in the bin." At that point, we think, well, if Mom's going to scrape it in the bin, which we know is a hollow threat anyway, because she's never scraped it in the bin, we need to find out what it is. Is it worth going down for this dinner? "Mum, what is for dinner?" "I've done you faggots and mushy peas." "Oh, Mum, I hate faggots and mushy peas." "Yeah, well, you're still coming down to dinner, and the potatoes, I've done them like crisps, so you'll like them." Now, the first time Mom said this, we went, "Oh, faggots and mushy peas, but crisps, we love crisps. Crisps are our favourite thing." So we went running down, and Mom had got a potato and sliced it into very thin slices, put it in the frying pan, fried it, and put a bit of salt on it. And these things were nothing like crisps. They were just like this round, thin, flattened chip or fry, as you would say in the United States of America. Not that anybody in America is watching this, because this video will only be of interest to anyone who's grown up in the United Kingdom. Anyway, so, and then it wasn't even crisp. You know, if you bit into it, the potato in the middle was still like a potato. And this got me thinking. I thought, I've never seen anyone create a crisp at home. No amateurs ever been able to create a crisp. You could create a cake, you could create a biscuit, you could even create a chocolate bar if you have the ingredients. But a crisp? How's a crisp invented? And you can't do it. You have to buy them. And so I think this one, the Walker's Salt and Shake, is an example of the closest that we can get in the United Kingdom of creating our own crisp, which is something we like to do. Even if it tastes horrible, it doesn't matter, because it's the creation. And I can remember, if you turned around to your mum and said, have you got any crisps, Mum? Yeah, there's some crisps in the cupboard. Go and grab a packet. Oh, brilliant. You go in there expecting prawn cocktail. What's there? Walker's Salt and Shake. It was always a letdown, but putting the salt in was always quite cool. That did lift it up a little bit, you know. Me and my brother would sit down together and do that together, because, of course, in the 70s as a child, we had to find our entertainment where we could. Now, I'm saying Walker's Salt and Shake, but, of course, they weren't Walker's Salt and Shake in the 1970s. They were Smith's Salt and Shake. And Smith's Salt and Shake were really, really minimal. It was like something that had come out of sort of modern art in the 1920s. It was this exploration of form following function. That's the one I remember from my degree in art. I'm so happy I got a degree in art, because it comes in so useful when I do this type of thing. And yeah, so you've got the older, I'll put myself off with that bit. You've got this minimal crisp, and on that we can place our fantasies. And that's why I put it first, because from now on, we are going to explore the fantasies that have been put on these crisps by the British crisp manufacturer. Now, you might be thinking, why are Walkers now doing Salt and Shake? Especially if nobody wants them and they're horrible tasting. Why do Walkers still do them and take it over from Smith's? Well, this alludes to the great British crisp-off that happened in the 1980s, when all the crisp manufacturers were all vying to become the top crisp manufacturer. They were all trying to do it. Golden Wander's trying to do it. Smith's is trying to do it. They're all trying to get in there. You know, the supermarkets, Waitrose, Tesco's, they're all bringing out their own branded crisp. They're all trying to get there, all trying to become top dog when it comes to the crisp. Right. Now, back in the 70s, there was a colour coding that went with crisps. And salt and vinegar was represented by the colour blue. But cheese and onion, logically, because cheese is yellow and onions are sort of greeny, it was symbolised by the colour green. Of course, salt coming from the sea is blue. And everybody knew that. And then Walkers, right? All the other crisp colours, red was plain, you know, all these other ones, chicken was a sort of browny, chickeny colour. All of those they kept. But when they brought out their cheese and onion and salt and vinegar crisps, they swapped those colours round. And we were all like, why have you done this for? Now I'm confused. But what happened was that business move, people went, oh, I don't know which one to go for. And they went with Walkers. And the great cheese and onion move that they did consolidated Walkers as being the head honcho when it comes to crisps. And now your basic yardstick for crisps in the UK are Walker's crisps. Cheese and onion, salt and vinegar, plain, smoky bacon, and then you get into the weirder realms, which is chicken. And then in the 70s, they brought prawn cocktail out, which was like a master stroke in terms of crisps. Then they started to get into all different flavours. And this is where you start to go, hang on, Walkers, you're going too far now. Now we've got, like, you know, Builder's breakfast flavour, and we've got kebab flavour. And this was the point where they joined up with that bloke off the BBC, the football player. The one that, you know, the one, I can't remember his bloody name because I hate him. Oh, what's his name? This is what happens when you get old. I know you're shouting it at me. You know the one. You know when Gaza was crying like that, and you thought and he was crying, and the one that went, you know, that one. We all liked him then. And then he got on the BBC, and he's got too big for his boots, and he's paid too much, and he keeps having an opinion about things. What's his name? That bloke. They then teamed up with him, and at that point, I just turned on Walkers. But you have to go there. You can't go anywhere else. They've monopolised it all. They have complete control. And the other crisp manufacturers, they got quite upset about this. And they met on a car park in Birmingham, and they've had a face-off. And Smiths was there, Golden Wonder was there. There's a few other weirder crisps there, you know. They're all sat there, coming in, they're all sat there with their chains, you know, spinning them. And the Walkers come in, and it was like, I don't know, it was like Don Arden had turned up. You know Don Arden? Don Arden is like the Walkers of crisps, and they just come out, you know, bloke dressed in red, bloke dressed in blue, you know, representing all the different colours. Always submachine guns, and they said, look, guys, you either play the game by our rules, right, or it's curtains for you. They talked in that sort of gangstery way. And that really has created the now modern landscape of the British crisp universe. Shall we move on to number 9? At number 9, I've got another horrible tasting crisp. I do believe that when it comes to, snacks, I had the same feeling with biscuits. You can go for a nice tasty packet of crisps, right? We can always do that. But sometimes you want to go for something that's not that nice. And I think this represents the sort of Protestant work ethic. Because you've got to remember, here in the UK, we were once a Catholic country. And then, you know, Henry VIII wanted to have it off with somebody else. So he left the church, and we took on Protestantism. And then we had Oliver Cromwell came in, and they were all like, oh, you know, we mustn't have any fun. And so I think that sort of ethic has embedded itself in crisp culture. And the hula hoop is an example of that. Now, the hula hoop is really going back to the 1960s phenomenon of the hula hoop. And so at some point they've gone, let's make a crisp like a hula hoop. And that structurally is quite difficult to make out of a potato. So when you bite into a hula hoop, it doesn't really taste like potato or crisp. It's got a certain plasticity to it and tastelessness. And then the master stroke of the hula hoop is to have the one I put at number 9, which is the plain hula hoop. Now you get barbecue flavoured hula hoops. They're okay. They're hard, right? They're hard. It's a hard crisp. You know, if you bite it the wrong way, you can do yourself an injury with a hula hoop. But if you get a plain packet, you'll eat them. There's a vague potato-y semblance of potato there. They're hard, they're crunchy. And worst of all, they are completely unlike a hula hoop. Nobody, even if you were to take the hula hoop crisp and expand it to the size of an actual hula hoop, what you would have is a tube, right? And a hula hoop is not a tube. A hula hoop is a ring, right? But this is more like a tube. And you cannot wear it as a ring unless you're a very small child, which I can remember just about in the distant memories of when my fingers were little and being able to just force a hula hoop on a little finger. And then once you had it there, you could crack it and it would crack open, exploding into your mouth. And this is the thing about the hula hoops. They're an interesting crisp. I used to try and bite a little bit of a section and then try and create a chain of hula hoops. A very difficult task, almost impossible, in fact. Anyway, the plain hula hoop, again, is one of these crisps that is halfway between the salt and shake crisp, which is just the blank canvas. This is a blank canvas, but it alludes to a sort of cultural phenomenon. It's not about aliens or monsters or evil, scary ghosts. It's none of that. It's just alluding to the fun of the hula hoop and then destroying that idea of fun with the actual content that you get in your packet of hula hoops. Right, shall we move on? At number 8, I've got Smith's chipsticks, right? Now, this is really interesting because, again, these crisps are trying to be something else. They're not trying to be crisps. They're trying to be like chips. This is bonkers, you know, so... And there is, I haven't got it on the list, there is actually a packet of crisps in the UK called fish and chips. And then you've got chips and you've got fish. And they both got exactly the same taste. They're just shaped different. And when you taste them, they are sort of, in a very, distant sort of way, related to both tastes. This one is supposedly like a chip, but it's not like a chip, which is surprising because it's a potato snack. You'd think the one thing that a crisp could emulate is another foodstuff made out of a potato, but apparently not. And the chipstick is porous. It's made of this sort of, it's just like a long stick of like chaos, basically, embodied in a long stick. You know, it's not that long. I've been talking about this, but like a chip, basically. And when you eat them, they're very, very, very salty. Now, when you're a kid, it's not the fact that they look like a chip that was cool. It's the fact that you could suck out of them the salty goodness. So you'd put it in your mouth and then you could emulate smoking. Of course, in the 70s, we had more than our fair share of sweets that emulated smoking. And, of course, anyone of my age, we do like a good smoke, don't we? More than those, like, white sweet things that came in a packet like a cigarette, with the filter on, or they had those sherbet ones with the sherbet you could blow and actually have smoke coming out. For me, the thing that did it for me, because I am a smoker, was the chipstick. Very strange crisp. Now, I put this on here also because if you are poor and you go into Tesco's, all these crisps are emulated by the sort of main supermarkets now. And they have their own versions of them. And some of them, like Walker's crisps, are hard to emulate because Walker's are obviously they're right. But things like this, they can just do carbon copies of. And you will be able to buy a bag and it will have 24 packets of crisps. And in there, you will get chipsticks, you will get onion rings, perhaps you will get some emulation of the cheesy what's it. And this crisp is there to represent all of those. And you'll open this thing and you'll say, 24 bags. And when you open it, the packet will be about that big. And then when you open it, there will be 7 crisps in there. But, it's at the time, it seems like a bargain, but they do get their profit margin on those bags. So the chipsticks is representing all those cheap party, 70s children's party crisps that were all bought and then poured out into a big bowl to emulate some sort of, king's feast as you sat there with your French fancies and your egg sandwiches and your selection of cheap crisps all on the plate together, savoury and salt and sweet all on together on the same plate, and you just shovel it all in. The 1970s embodied there in that picture I just painted for you. Let's move on. Now, I mentioned prawn cocktail. Now, I thought with Walker's crisps being so ubiquitous, it could have easily just been a ranking of Walker's crisps because they are great crisps. And one of the greatest packets of crisps created by Walker's is the prawn cocktail crisps. I can remember a time there when there wasn't prawn cocktail. Now, what I think happened with the Walker's crisps, because they're not on the list, is Walker's was sat there and they're thinking, we got cheese and onion. We've got salt and vinegar, we've got plain, we've even got chicken. But these are good old English foods we're emulated here. Good old English historic foods that the people that worked the land would have eaten. We need something to make us more upmarket. Well, so what food's upmarket? And they think, well, what do middle class people have in the 70s if they're having a nice dinner? Maybe they got some friends round, they got the Demis Roussos record in the background. And what would they offer them before the main meal? They would offer them a prawn cocktail. To me, a prawn cocktail was like caviar. It is basically middle-class caviar, isn't it, the prawn cocktail? I do love a prawn cocktail, especially on a bed of lettuce. I think it's a wonderful food. And so it had, in the 70s, this sophistication about the prawn. I mean, now you can get prawn cocktail sandwiches. I mean, it's like now the whole thing has been completely ruined. But that prawn cocktail sauce as well, that's the main taste. It's not the prawn. It's that sauce, isn't it? That's a nice taste. So somebody in Walker said, how about prawn cocktail? And these kicked off, and how are you going to represent prawn cocktail in your colour code? It's pink. So suddenly you've got these pink crisps. They're bright, they're attractive, They have a slight camp air to them because they're pink, which is great, you know. So the gay community in the UK that had only just been granted a legal status in 1967, was it, in the UK, suddenly have their own crisp, the prawn cocktail crisp. They're all running out going, oh, you've had the prawn cocktail crisp. Oh, yeah, they're lovely, aren't they? And wearing that with them as a badge of pride. That's what they're doing, the gay community. That's what they're doing. And so you'd think I'd have prawn cocktails on this, but I'm not, because there's a crisp that has to go on in there because they're absolutely unique. They're like crisps from heaven. And that is the skip. Surprising name, because a skip is a thing that you order and then you stick all your rubbish in it, don't you? But the skip is like a little flower. It's like a beautiful little flower, and you open up and it's delicate. It's the delicate thing. And you put it on your mouth, you put it on your tongue. And once it's on your tongue, it just melts away. Like an ethereal presence, like a waif, like a will-o'-the-wisp, and it's gone. And the greatest flavour to put on a skip is prawn cocktail. That is what I have. The crisp that represents the feminine, the opening up. You have to woo. You have to woo a skip. You can't just shovel them in. You have to woo it. You have to taste it and let it melt away. Put another one in and you get that lovely prawn cocktail taste that makes you feel erudite, that makes you feel that you're about to sit down to have, you know, a tasteful meal around the table with a, you know, educated conversation and some nice dinner music on in the background, you know, maybe a bit of Lee Ritner or something like that, just floating across the floaty sounds of those gentle jazz improvisations while the prawn cocktail melts away in your mouth. I should have put them up higher, shouldn't I? So that's what I got. Number 7 is the prawn cocktail skip, a masterpiece of a crisp. We are now coming into the realm. These next ones are just, you're going to go, oh my God, I would have put that at number 1, and then I'll do the next one. Oh, that one should have been at number 1. Oh my God, Andy's just hitting hard now. So at number 1, I have got Pringles. And which flavour? Nearly went for cheese and onion. Because that's the thing. You go into Pringles, all those flavours are good. Pringles are the only crisp that's been able to pull off plain crisps. We'll talk about plain crisps because we've talked about plain hula hoops. The plainness has been represented by 2 packets of crisps. But plainness is an interesting thing in the crisp sort of lexicon. Because when you look at the portfolio of crisps that the company lays out, you know that the bog standard crisp is the plain one. So if you want to know what a Pringle is, first time you go in, you have to buy the bog standard plain Pringles, which will be represented by red following the code law of the crisp. And but the thing with the Pringle is, as soon as you walk in, you go, ayo, it's not in a packet. It's not in a packet, is it? It's in a tube. It's in a tube. So you buy this tube, you take it home. How do I open the tube? I ask myself. And as you open it, it's got this plastic thing. And as you push it, due to the forces that are contained within the top of that tube, it just pops off. Like that. Oh my God. This is an aesthetic presentation, not just visually, but orally. It's an oral, and visual treat all in one with the Pringle, right? And then you have that little thing. You're not there yet. It's like entering a mystical temple with the Pringle, because then you have to peel back that thing, and that's an enjoyable sensation. And then you look in, and the Pringle is shaped like your tongue. It's like this curve. It's like a Mobius ring. It's suggesting 3 or 4, 5 dimensions all in one, and they're stacked on top of each other. And you don't know how to get them out. You try and put your fingers in, but it's like a monkey trap. I can't get them. And as soon as you try that, they crumble. Often, if anyone has disturbed this tube, because it's not the optimum way of transporting the Pringle, as we know, because they're usually quite smashed up inside. And that's an interesting thing. We'll get to that at the end when I go through the whole experience of the Pringle, because this really needs a description. Because all of this adds up to why the Pringles are so ubiquitous and so popular and have really become, their status in the lexicon of biscuits is right at the top, you know. The only reason I'm demoting them is because there's a question to whether they are a crisp, isn't it? But let's put that aside, keep it calm, I haven't finished. So you open it up, and you can't, so then you have to pour it out, and this like caterpillar of crisps comes out, and as they come out, they fall. Oh my God, I can't do that. How can I get them out? So what you have to do is you have to tip them up and grab. Now, as you grab them, you then have a moral dilemma embodied in the packaging, because how much are you going to take? Right, now there's only a certain amount you can take in one grab, and it's about that much. And when you bring it out, that is unstable. You know it's unstable. Oh my God. So you might want to go for that. That's safer, but you haven't got enough Pringles. And the tube's always communal. Anybody who sits down with a whole, box of full Pringles, not those little stunty ones, they're like Warwick Davis of the Pringle world. No, the proper full-on Chewbacca, the proper one, right? That when you get that out, you'll want to take that much, because you know the next person's going to take that much. And so in your mind, if there's 3 people, you're trying to divide this foot-long tube into a third. So you've got your Pringles, and you start putting them in. Now, as you put them in your mouth, you become very aware, like the hula hoop, we're not dealing with a full-on potato snack here. Now, I have been told that the Pringle is entirely made out of plastic. I think that's quite a well-known fact. And even knowing that, and also I once read a study that said that the Pringle was the most harmful food you could eat, right? The Pringle will do your health more damage than any other crisp on the market, okay? The next one after Pringles in terms of health is crack cocaine. If you go and look that up on Google, you'll see that that's the case. And this sort of Moorish aspect that crisps have, this sort of how they relate somehow to drug abuse. With the Pringle, this whole ritual that you go through, and then you eat one, straight away you eat another one, and then it's like it speeds up and you can't stop, and then you're looking around and you think, how big is their stack? Is my stack bigger than mine? Right? And eventually it gets down to the bottom, doesn't it? And they go, any more Pringles in there? Well, yeah, there's a few, but they've all broken up, and then people shake the box. The box is a foot long, and it's been designed like that harmonically, so a note rings out. Oh my God, this is incredible. What experience am I having here? I'll have the crumbs, don't worry. And then the incredible thing is the Pringles, which is a packet of crisps in a tube, turns into a drink, like an alcoholic drink, and you're there trying to drink down the crisp Pringle juice. Now, I'm a big fan of Pringles, as you can tell. The plain ones are probably the tastiest plain crisp on the market. They are very Moorish. On top of that is cheese and onion. It's not cheese and onion, it's cheese and something else. The green one. And there they are. They just ignore the Walker's code, don't they? They don't care, Pringles. But barbecue are the ones. Yeah, the barbecue ones, they're the top ones. Because when you take those out, they've got a dusty red glow on them. You want to lick them. And then you'll just be left with the plastic tongue. Let's move on. Number 5, I have got Chili Heat Wave Doritos. Now, this is a bit of a treat of a crisp for me, And say I've gone into the shop and I want to have some crisps, and I want something that kicks as well. But also, if it's going to kick and be spicy, and that's what these represent on this list, I think they're the best of the hot, spicy crisp, is the Chili Heat Wave Doritos. They've actually got one above that, which is only for professional crisp eaters. I can't remember what it's called, but there's one above that, and I think it's called something like Death by Flaming Hotness, and it's got like warnings on the top, It's for those types who like bungee jumping and doing dangerous sports, and they will, what crisp shall I have? I'm going for the dangerous Death by Hot Flaming Crisp Dorito thing. And they buy those, it's like, they buy it into it, they're so tough, they don't bother. That's a little bit much. I can eat it, but it's just the hotness takes over. The Chili Heat Waves are nice. They're a nice crisp. And the Dorito, of course, it's exotic, isn't it? We've got the exotic crisps going on. I don't know where they're made. I assume they're made in the UK. But we're in South America. As soon as we have a Dorito, is this like Mexican food? What's a Dorito? Some people will get plain Doritos and get a dip and eat it, and they will think they're like having a Mexican meal when they do that. But for me, it's more the pyramid shape, which for me suggests the sort of, Mayan pyramids and the Aztec worlds. As soon as I bite into it, I'm taken away to a distant land and a different place, and I'm suddenly at the top of a pyramid. And then some bloke is reaching down deep into my chest and grabbing my heart and pulling it out as the chilliness hits. And I see the pyramid. You're coughing your guts up. And it's got that sort of sacrificial, self-sacrificing thing about the Dorito. It's exotic, it's dangerous, it's for the people in the world that want to live dangerously. The Dorito it's a great crisp. I don't feel it is truly English, but we shouldn't put that against it. We should be open to multicultural influences, and so someone like me that's a lot more traditional, I can go in and say, I feel like something exotic, Let's have a pizza tonight, and what shall we have? Go with it. Let's get some Doritos. I can go home and feel like I'm multicultural and open to the world around me, which us British people are. We are very, very inclined in that way. Right, let's go to number 4. Right, now, you remember I got these crisps here, right? These chav crisps. Good, honest, poor crisps for poor people. That's what we've got here. Or kids that have scraped together 40p. There's a whole host of these. There's hundreds of them. All sorts of ones. They're different to the party crisps, which are also very cheap. Now, when you go in, there's a new crisp on the block in there. Hasn't been around for that long. And it's become a king of the cheap crisps. And it is, of course, the Knick Knack. Now, the Knick Knack is a bit like, when people make their own alcohol, moonshine, grappa, puccini, all those types of alcoholic beverages that you can have, someone's made, and and you have it in films, didn't it? Because they always have a drink of it. They go, that's good. That's good. That thing that you see, it's like a cliche, comedy cliche. In the crisp world, the Knick Knack is like that. Sometimes when you go in, you go, I fancy it. I'm going to be talking about the subtle taste of a crisp. That's very important. In fact, we've got that at number 2. But at number 4, we have the Knick Knack. And whatever that flavour that Knick Knack is, it's going to punch you in the face with that flavour. When you open, it looks like some weird ginseng root. You know what I'm saying? It looks like it's grown underground. And you feel that if you eat it, if you are having problems, if you're a man and you're having problems in the bedroom department, I don't want to go in it too much. It does happen as you get older. That these crisps may well help because they have that idea of revitalization. And, knick-knacks. I mean, what does that mean? Knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. Will this give you a bone? That's the thing we ask ourselves when we see the packaging and we open up and we see this knobbly, knurly thing there like that, and you put it into your mouth and bang, it hits you like that. You think, oh my God, this is reaching the parts that other crisps don't reach. That's what you think when you have a knick-knack. And what is what's the flavour you're going to go for? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what flavour you go for, right? There's a ribs one, ribs and sauce. Right, it doesn't taste like spare ribs. It's like bang, like that. It's like being hit by a cow in the face. That's what you've got. It's like actually being attacked by a ribbed being. I'll put myself off there. There was too many jokes after that line. I'm not going to go for any of them. So, but the one I favour is what they called nice and spicy. What crisps shall I go to? 45p, you can get those knick-knacks. There's not many in a packet, but they don't half pack a punch. I might go for those. I want something to revitalise myself. Let's have a look at the packaging. And it's staring at you, this sort of weird orange colour. We don't give a toss about bloody Walker's colour codes. We don't. Not knick-knacks, not spicy knick-knacks, paddywhacks, give the dog a bone. We don't care about that whatsoever. Come here. I'm just this weird orangey brown colour. And you want to know what I am? Nice and spicy. Come on. Oh, I'm nice and spicy. Now, usually a food that says it's nice to me, like the nice biscuit, I find that annoying. I find it patronising. Who are you, food stuff, to tell me that you're nice? I'll make the decision, but not with the knick-knack paddywhacks, because they, you know where they're coming from. Come on, darling. Come over here, nice. Fancy a bit of nice and spiciness? Oh, that's what you've got with the old knick-knacks. I don't know what the make of it is. I don't know who makes them. But whoever does, they could well be the great usurpers. They get more and more flavours there. They're sat there, you know, like the sort of rough diamond, you know, in the nightclub of crisps. And the walkers are stood there all rich with their Ferraris outside, you know. Hello, ladies. I'm a packet of Walker's cheese and onion crisps. What do you think? Yes. Like that. Good establishment, you know. Good family. And over in the corner. You all right, darling? Fancy a bit of nice and spicy? Shall we move on? I don't think I have ever explored that aspect of myself on the channel before. All I can say, that is not me. That was not me. I was acting then. I was acting the role of a rough Lothario, inspired by the older, I have to keep looking at the name, nice and spicy knickknacks. It wasn't me. I am not that type of person. I don't want anyone to think I'm like that. Right, if you were convinced by my portrayal of that sort of Casanova, you know, diamond in the rough type, you know, there he is, you know, all muscles, a Vin Diesel type, you know, one of those. I do apologise for it. I do not want to misrepresent myself. Why am I talking to? There's no women watching this anyway. Such a bunch of blokes. Anyway, if you are of the male persuasion and found that in any way arousing, I apologise for it. But you know, let's find your pleasures where you can. Shall we move on? Because this is all I knew when I did. Because it's not like biscuits. This is it's a completely different thing. We're exploring with crisps. You're always descending lower down with a crisp, you know. I mean, where's the posh crisp on here? There isn't a posh crisp. You know, you think I'm going to put kettle crisps on here? They're bloody horrible. They're too hard. They're too crunchy. They've got no bloody taste. They don't taste like a crisp. That's your middle class crisp. The kettle crisp, it doesn't work. I'm not going to put them on here. You know, go out to posh person's house. You fancy any crisps? Yes, please. What have you got? I've got some lovely kettle crisp. They've been fried in a special way. And what flavour is it? Oh, it's proletariat flavour. Oh, what's that taste like? It tastes like the flesh of the poor. I don't think that's that. That would be the ribs and sauce knickknacks. You see, you can't beat them. They're there. They're there waiting. They're there. And we're up to the last two, and you really want to know what's at number one, don't you? So what have I got at number two? A classic crisps. It never lets me down. Once we get to the top, I'm just talking about workhorse crisps. And we've got two. Oh no, I'm at number three. I nearly went wrong. Yes. And number three, what we've got is the crisp that inspired this video. I've been eating a lot of them. Monster Munch. The shopping came last night, and a bag of 12 packets of Monster Munch. You see? Multi-pack bag, do not sell separately. Had come in. I wandered down there into the kitchen after the food had come out about 1 o'clock in the morning. Oh, how much? I'll have a cup of tea. That's something to eat. Ooh, got some Monster Munch. Brilliant. So I got myself a packet of Monster Munch. 6 hours later, all 12 packets are gone. Couldn't stop eating them. All the flavours were there. Just couldn't stop eating them. And the next day, I was actually filming a video for this YouTube channel, and I'm trying to keep concentrating for a Patreon video. And this message comes through. I bought 12 packets of Monster Munch yesterday. Where are they? Oh, God, I sent a message back. Bloody kids. They've had them all. Monster Munch are a special crisp. Right, so what we've got with the Monster Munch is a fantasy crisp. Very much like the Space Invaders, which are trying to emulate Monster Munch. We've got a dangerous being crisp, and in this case, not an alien, but a monster. So we've got a monster, and when you open the Monster Munch up, you get something that's supposed to look like that chap there. It looks nothing like it, but you can see, if I just turn these up here, you can see what an actual Monster Munch like. Now, if I hold that the right way around, see that Monster Munch there? That's supposed to be a monster. It's a big head, 2 arms and a leg. Ah, you can see it now, can't you? You can see it. Yeah, it is a monster. Now, it's not as realistic as that alien head, but for a child, they take the Monster Munch out and they insert their finger into the head, thus holding it like this. If they feel a bit bored and they want more entertainment, they can put one on every single finger like that. Now they have Monster Munch fingers. Then they can bite a leg off. Well, you start with an arm. Bite an arm off, bite a leg off, bite a leg off, bite an arm off, and, pull it out, eat the whole lot. And as I said, the child that's doing this is facing their fears. They're taking this idea of the monster. They're taking this idea of this thing that's in the cupboard in their bedroom, and they go, I'm scared of the monster, Mum. I'm scared of the monster. I don't like it. I think there's a monster in the cupboard. He's coming out at night time. There's no such thing as monsters. There he is. I know he's in there. I heard a noise. I don't like it. I don't like it. I tell you what, I'll give you a packet of Monster Munch. What are they? They're monsters, but they're in a packet. I don't like it. Don't want monsters in the packet, Mummy. Yes, but look at them. I don't. They get this is a kid first eating a packet of Monster Munch. Oh, I'm a bit scared. Look, there's a monster. He looks quite funny. He's only got one eye, but he's got a big red nose. Let's have a look, shall we? Oh, these are scary. They put their finger in, and it's stuck on my finger. Oh, it smells quite nice. Pickled onion. Bite. Oh, brilliant. Oh, I like this. Oh, that's brilliant. I've eaten the monster, Mummy. I ate it. And what will you do to that monster that lives in the cupboard? I'll just eat them. Pickled onion flavour monsters are. Oh, bloody hell. What was that flavour? As I shut the bag, I had pickled bloody onion. Powerful crisp. Powerful flavour. They're pickled onion flavour. This is the classic one. This is the one that's got to number 3. It's pickled onion flavour. Represented by purple. What's going on there? What's this one? Roast beef, represented by yellow. I mean, they don't care, do they? But Monster Munch are the kings. They're the peak of this sort of fantasy crisp. So you've got your Monster Munch, right? Pickled onion is actually not that nice, but you can't stop eating it. That's the genius. That's the genius of the Monster Munch. I don't want to talk about them anymore. Incredible crisp, duly worth its placing on my list at number 3. But we've got 2 incredible crisps for you at number 2 and number 1. So at number 2, we have spicy tomato flavoured snaps. What a crisp. Now, I will go to the shop, and there's all these incredible crisps. Got Pringles there, thinking they're just the bee's knees. You got Knick Knacks. Oh, they have a bit of rough. They're all there vying for you, The kettle crisps, come on, you should grow up a little bit and have some kettle crisps. I'm not having you, mate. You taste horrible. But they're all vying like that, aren't they? And you look down, and right in the middle, not as outlandish as Monster Munch or Space Invaders, not a party crisp. It's all of its own, isn't it? The snap, right? It's the snap, and it's sat there. And you think, and you look at the price and they're cheap. You think, a little bit cheap. I can save 20p if I buy those. And if you buy the spicy tomato flavoured snaps, now, when they say spicy, they mean spicy like a world chef, like Gordon Ramsay or somebody like that would mean spicy. I mean, if Gordon Ramsay had a knick-knack, he'd spit it out. Oh my God, it's not subtle enough for my, advanced palate. But the spicy tomato snap is. And you put it in, it's got a lovely texture all of its own. It's a unique crisp. And you put it in, and this delicate spiciness emerges. It's a little bit like a more manly, what they call skip. The snap and the skip are sort of related, and I do really rate them. But they're a little bit more manly than that. But the taste is just perfect for those of you that, are a connoisseur of the more erudite tastes. the snap, you know, the spicy tomato snaps there. Now, we will never think of it as being a sort of elite crisp or, you know, an upper market, upper class crisp, because it's the artwork's not like it. I mean, you can see it now; it's up on the screen, isn't it? And so they're very unique, and they never let me down. There's all sorts of flavors, but if I can get a spicy tomato, and because I mean I've had those bloody spicy events, I've got them all over my tongue now. It's horrible. It's horrible. I need a drink of water just to get rid. Not like that with a snap, but that is it. It is a very classic, subtle crisp. Right, the battery's running low now, so I've really got to. We're still going, aren't we? We've got to get to number one. What have I got at number one? Of course, it's Walker's. Walker's crisps. I've talked about them throughout the whole thing. They rule over this list like a princely lord, like, you know, looking over their king, like a feudal lord. That's what I meant to say. Looking at all the other crisps working away while they sit there, you know, securing the knowledge that they are the top crisps. So which flavour am I going to go for? Cheese and onion. Of course, it's cheese and onion because of that move of going from green to blue that I described. Cheese and onion, Walker's cheese and onions are like unlike any other. And the thing is, it's like classic wine. We all know this, especially in the 70s. In the 70s, you could buy Walker's cheese and onion, and one packet would be horrible, and then one would be really nice. And you go, oh, I got a nice one today. But as time's gone on, Walker's been able to control that. And so they always tend to deliver the most nice. And cheese and onion crisps, they're crunchy, but they have a moist aspect to them as well, unlike all the other crisps. I nearly put plain Walker's crisps on, and as I've said on another video when I had Richard Boxley on here, he'd actually chosen a packet of Walker's plain crisps, and he said he was really exploring that aspect of himself, because the thing with the packet of Walker's crisps, if someone else has got a packet and they go, what you got there? Packet of plain Walker's. Oh, can I have one? When you bite someone else's Walker's crisp, it's like tasting the most incredible, beautiful food. Right, I'm sure this is embedded and embodied in the Walker's crisp. So you go and buy a packet, but when you buy your own packet, it's not the same. It's like quantum physics. I don't know how they do it. Have you tried? Have someone else's crisp. You go, oh my God. Now I've thought it might be that when you have someone else's crisp, you're just eating it one at a time. But when you have your own crisps, you'll put in a few crisps in. Walker's crisps have a whole bunch of things attached to them that are very interesting. Every now and then you get your massive crisp, and when you get that, because Walker's are so important, you feel like you don't want to eat that. You want to frame it, and you will hold it, and you'll show it to him. Go, look at the size of that crisp. Or what are you going to do with it? I don't know, you frame it really. Oh, and then you eat it. I'm at the end of the video. It's nearly bloody an hour long. I'm running out of battery power. You know, I can't drag any more stupidity out of this stupid list. But I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you learned a thing or two. This video will get no views, but there is an audience out there for these sort of videos, and I'm catering for you, the non-music fans out there that just want to know what I think about British foodstuffs. Well, you've had another video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it gave you everything that you wanted. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Go visit my Patreon. And look, put some money in the TikTok. I spent all the money on Chris. If you can do that, it'd be really, really good. So like, subscribe, and put some money. Put some money. Oh, God. In the PayPal tip jar. Come on. I just have that feeling I'm a 56-year-old man with a family, and I spend my days doing that. I'm going for a ciggy.